guys, Marmalade here. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for tuning in for my Q&A number 35. Let's get right away to question number 1. All right, so our first question is from my son, Cameron Lawrence. Where and what trail would you want to do if it's not in the U.S., if you could? So that's a good question. Cameron, I haven't thought about too much. I would say right now, and it's not like a through hiking, but I would love to do the Camino de Santiago, which, as you guys know, I don't know a ton about. I haven't studied yet, but what I've seen in some of the videos of the hikes, people doing it, it really intrigues me. I think it's more of the history and the culture and the architecture and the people you meet, because just like on the through hike, it's about the people you meet more than the trail itself. So that really interests me. It goes through, I think, France and Spain and some other places. So yeah, it's something that can tell I don't know that much about because I haven't studied or really planned on it, but I would love to do that. I would even love to do that with you if you're game. All right, our next question is from Dave E. Dave, if you guys remember, is my trail angel, Dave and Christy up in the Seattle area when they helped me get up to the northern terminus. He asked me, I like this. What's your Jedi mind trick or tricks for getting through stuff on trail that is completely not like you expected, like way harder or scarier? I've had numerous experiences where if I had known what it was like ahead of time, I would have been much more able to handle it. I find once I get thrown off, it's really hard to regain composure in the moment. So that is a good question. I thought about this, Dave, because we're all different, right? Like I don't like heights. I would never jump out of an airplane or off a cliff or do any of that kind of stuff. So like it's all perspective, right? But I think the main thing, the only thing I could think of to answer your question is to, for me, I've kind of blocked a lot of it out, but when I've had a lot of fearful or scary things on even the 900 miles I did, why it doesn't overwhelm me, it internally scares me sometimes, but I welcome the adventure. And I know that, so what I'm going to say is it's a mindset. When you go on a new trail, whether it's for a day hike or a through hike, that you're going to probably see stuff or be in areas where you're uncomfortable. So I just welcome it. So I think mentally and emotionally welcoming the challenge doesn't mean you like it. I had some places where I really was super uncomfortable, and I hope that answers your question. But I think it's you can't be prepared every time. You and I are similar in that way. I like to be prepared. If I'm doing a day hike, like how far am I going, how much elevation, blah blah blah, what to expect. But it almost never goes as you think it's going to go. So I would say just mentally, emotionally, just being okay with whatever happens, and just what got me through the trail until I got hurt was just taking my time on the parts that were sketchy or scary to me or dangerous. I just took my time and went slow. Some of the kids just rushed through. They're running across rocks or over a river, and I mean, it only takes one slip to be done with your hike. So that's probably the best way I can answer that. Okay, our next question is from Mountain Cat 8. If you are hiking north on the desert section of the PCT at around mile 300 and you get the news that there is a 24-hour snowstorm headed your way, which will drop 3 inches of snow, what do you do? Do you, 1, go to a lower elevation? 2, keep hiking knowing you have some good rain gear with you? 3, set up your tent and wait the storm out? 4, head for the nearest town if it is close and wait out the storm. And then this is also, they're saying, assuming that you will have plenty of food and water in this scenario. So that's a good question. So I don't know if I'm supposed to take you literally or figuratively, because I know exactly where 300 is. I've been there a couple times on my own and then on my through hike. It's just past Splinter Cabin is about 2 miles before mile 300. It's an old cabin and there's only like a stone fireplace left. So there's almost nothing left of it. And they have a big roof over it with 4 pillars. It's kind of a historic thing. I've been there many times. So that is a good question. There's a bunch of different answers. I'd have to be in the moment and know, like, the 24-hour storm is not long compared to some of the people that they dealt with week-long ones here this year. So if I had enough food, the interesting thing about this is if it was rain, I would probably go find cover more than snow, because the snow, if it's only 3 inches, is not as wet, of course. So like I would set up my tent. Probably I'd do a couple things: set up my tent, wait it out for 24 hours, assuming I have the food and the water, because the snow for me is not a big deal as long as it's not too deep. And you said 3 inches, so or if it was a really long bad storm, I'd retreat and go find cover, or like I was saying, you can find a temporary structure like that to wait at the 24 hours. I could even set up my tent underneath that, or just cowboy camp, and I'd be warm enough. So yeah, I would say those are my couple of choices. So it just depends. It's kind of multi-pronged answer depending on like, am I near a water source where I can get water, or do I have to get out of there to get water, things like that. But yeah, I hope that kind of answers it. Okay, and our last question for this Q&A is from Teri Savini. How does someone like myself, which she's talking about herself, handle planning for months on end, quitting my job, arranging my life to finally begin my through hike attempt only to have it canceled due to COVID-19? What do I do now mentally and emotionally? So that is a great, I can't imagine, to be honest with you. I felt last year was not a good year because of the snow levels from El Nino, and the Sierras were bad. So we dealt with our own thing, but because of that, we had lots of water in the desert. But I can't imagine planning this and then not being able to go because of something crazy like this. So, and Teri's a friend of mine, and we talk. So thanks for the question. I don't know. It depends. I find it interesting. There's people that I see that will vlog for a while, and then they get hurt or something gets them off trail, not by choice, but they get off trail, and then you never see them again, and they never plan. I'm thinking, well, how badly did they want to do the PCT? In other words, it's a pain to have to rearrange your life a year or two later, but if you really want to do these adventures, how can you just quit? Just because, like in my case, I got hurt. How do you just quit? I happen to be lucky because I live in San Diego and I can be on trail and get my fix, generally speaking, except for right now. But to answer your question, I think you have to remain focused. And I know you're starting to hike, so in the weather, she lives on the East Coast, and it's just starting to become spring. So get out there and hike. I know there's not many mountains, but maybe you plan a trip by yourself or with friends or your husband to go do a weekend camping trip, like backpacking trip, and go camp out there. You should try all your gear and not just show up on the trail, not even using your stove and things like that. So I think it's important to go use it, but maybe get some experience under your belt, and also start hiking a lot and get in shape. I mean, hiking's good whether you're doing a through hike or not. Just a hike. I'll probably hike the rest of my life, whether I continue trying to do through hikes or not. So I think that, so mentally and emotionally, just don't give up. It's kind of like a relationship. If you just don't see each other for 5 months, you grow apart. So if you just wait and try to turn it back on 10 months from now, it won't be there for you. You won't have the passion. So I guess it depends on your passion, how badly you want to do this, and maybe evaluate yourself and get some goals. I want to be able to hike so many miles in a day with a full backpack. I want to be able to do an overnighter by myself. I want to have my gear dialed in and my clothing and things like that. But maybe have some small goals to start reaching, so that I told you guys many times, because people have asked me, what should I do to get ready for my through hike? And yes, you should. I've told people, hike because you need to get in shape, but hiking gets you mentally prepared. It'll be nothing like you expect. It'll be way better, but it's also going to be way tougher than you expect. So if some of the people that don't hike and don't go camp, and even camp by themselves or camp with other people, but like set up your tent and go through things breaking and this and that, or it rains on me, all that stuff you deal with will make you so much more prepared for the trail. So I hope that helps and that answers, but just don't let the dream, if you really want to do this, I'm talking to anybody, not just Teri, then like I do, then you can't forget about it. You need to keep going hiking and get out in your areas where you are and backpack and camp and try your gear out. You may have a third of your stuff in your pack right now isn't really what you are going to want or need on the trail, but you have no idea because a lot of people don't try out their stuff ahead of time. So go use it, or even camp in the backyard. I don't know, but anyway, hopefully everything will open up, parks and national parks and state parks and stuff, and we can get out there and camp. But I would start planning a trip, whether it's with your husband or if you have any other backpacking friends, to start going. And I think it's wise to even be comfortable by yourself. It's different for women, I know, but anyway, hope that answers your question. All right, guys, that does it for Q&A number 35. I hope you enjoyed that and learned something. It was quick and sweet, which is what I'm working on. I just recently put a post up on my community tab of my YouTube channel and asked for more video ideas and more questions for my Q&As, and you guys are coming through, so bring them on some more. You can leave them down below here in the description, but I have time right now with this COVID thing going on. I'm also hiking. I found 4 or 5 trails that the general public seem to be able to go on no problem, so I've been going on those and making videos. Hope you're enjoying them, and it just, I enjoy making videos, so hope you do too. It gives you something to watch right now. And hopefully our national and state parks will open soon so we can all get out there and just plan some trips, man. I think we're all going to appreciate being outside so much more now. Sometimes I definitely think we take it for granted, but don't forget to check out the links below for my Patreon and my merch site. If you'd like to support my channel, I got a couple new ones this week, so please, if you'd like to even donate $1 a month, It's $12 a year. That's doable. You can help support me and also follow me when I get back on trail. But that helps me get gear and help fund getting back on trail. So all of you that have jumped on board, I appreciate you so much. And I always thank you at the end of every Q&A. So those of you that are patrons, wait till the end. You see your name. And until next time, see you down the trail.